This is my Wes Craven DVD collection, of course, one of the most popular directors in the horror genre. Um, and the first film I have of Wes Craven is his notoriously shocking Last House on the Left. This pushed the envelope and beyond when it came to on-screen violence and depravity. Very powerful film. Wes Craven, you can tell he didn't go to school to become a director, because his directing in this film is very amateurish, very pedestrian. He also put some really bizarre comical moments in order to offset the nastiness of the rest of the film. And in my opinion, it really hurts. It hurts the power of the film. But you can't deny it. This film was really groundbreaking at the time and very controversial. MGM re-released this in a special edition on DVD, but I've heard it's a different edit of the film, so this edition, this older edition, is actually a better version, just for those who are curious. And of course, probably I think it's about 4 years later, in 1977, he released another gritty, disturbing horror film, The Hills Have Eyes, about a family takes a desolate road in the desert, breaks down, and comes head to head with a cannibalistic family that lives in the hills. Oh yeah, he again pushed the envelope with violence. One character rips off a head of a bird and drinks its blood, so he really pulls no punches here, and it works. A really great, classic, disturbing horror film. Definitely one of his best films, in my humble opinion. And then we have an interesting, bizarre entry into his filmography, Swamp Thing, based on the DC comic book series. This is not a real successful adaptation, I'll put it nicely. This is more good for unintentional laughs. You got the Swamp Theory, a guy who's an evil genius after a scientist's new serum causes an explosion and morphs our hero into a half-man, half-plant hybrid, and he's got to rescue his girlfriend, played by Adrienne Barbeau. And yeah, it's entertaining enough, but definitely not a good Wes Craven film, we'll put it that way. Actually, the original DVD release, which I actually used to own, was the uncut European version, which had a couple nudity scenes, including a topless scene of Adrienne Barbeau. I actually sold that version because it was worth so much money. I sold it for almost $100 on eBay, and I knew it was going to be re-released, and they re-released it, of course. But this is the cut version. It doesn't have the nudity, but I paid $6.99 for this, so in my opinion, I can live without the nudity for the profit I made. So, a sequel was made a couple years later, Return of Swamp Thing. A very silly sequel, we'll put it that way. Then, of course, the film that made his name forever known in the realms of horror, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Amazing villain. Great concept, a true classic of the genre. Not much I can say about this one. It's widely known already, so just amazing. He really nailed it with that one. Now, I've actually heard that he filmed this before Nightmare on Elm Street, but it didn't get released till after, and oh my god, what a turd. He solely made this film for money. He's even admitted it. It's a hunk of crap. He needed money real fast, and he decided, I need to make a sequel to a film. Hills Have Eyes. Bounded up a script in 2 days and went and filmed this hunk of crap. He doesn't even like to talk about this film, and it's easy to see why. And yeah, definitely one of the low marks on Wes Craven's career, at least in the early part of his career. And then we have 1987 film Deadly Friend, another bizarre film choice of his. It's about a kid who's a genius with robots, and he has this little cutesy robot, kind of like Short Circuit, and he falls in love with the girl next door, and she gets killed by her abusive father, so he brings her back to life with a computer chip in her head, and not surprisingly, she malfunctions and starts killing people. And it's definitely got the trademark Wes Craven humor. As one scene, she even takes a basketball and throws it through a lady's head. I am not kidding you. So it's not a good film, definitely a weaker Wes Craven film, but it's worth it for that one scene. Then he signed a 3-picture deal with Alive Pictures, an independent production company, and his first film for that company is The Amazing Serpent in the Rainbow. His style in this is fantastic. And I actually met the author of the book that this movie is based on the real life events of, and I actually asked the author how true the movie was, and of course he said a lot of Hollywood stuff was added in, so the film really doesn't follow the realistic events, but needless to say, it's still a great horror film. Wes Craven does get a little goofy towards the end, kind of ruins the power of the film for me, but overall I really did like this film a lot. And then his second film for Alive Films was the 1989 film Shocker. I really enjoy this movie. It's a silly kind of pseudo-slasher. A convict gets electrocuted in an electric chair, executed, and he comes back as an electrical force and to get revenge. And it's really silly, tongue-in-cheek, but very highly enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. I even own the soundtrack to this movie. It's got an excellent heavy metal soundtrack. And Wes Craven even admitted that this was an attempt to create another franchisable character like Freddy Krueger, except for Universal Pictures. It didn't do as well in theaters as they hoped, so there was no sequels. Then we have The People Under the Stairs from 1991, and this is one of my all-time favorite Wes Craven films. I love the tongue-in-cheek nature of it. We got some people that live in a really run-down part of, I believe it's LA or New York, I can't remember, and their landlords are sick and tired of them, so they're going to go rob them. And their house, the landlords are all creepy and psychotic, and they keep people locked up in their basement, and it's creepy, great atmosphere. One of Wes Craven's greatest achievements, if you ask me. I love this movie, one of my all-time favorites of his. And then the only film I own after The People Under the Stairs is his film New Nightmare, the 7th entry in the Nightmare on Elm Street series. Enjoyable sequel. It's kind of more of a spin-off. It takes place actually in real life, how Freddy comes out of the movies, and Wes Craven plays himself in the movie. Really smart sequel. Really enjoyed that. After that, Wes Craven, I don't own any movies after this, because Wes Craven, in my book, he really changed. He became more Hollywood, and I hate this term, but kind of sold out. I mean, he directed, like the Scream films, and I respect the Scream films, how they rejuvenated the horror genre, but they're just not my taste. I prefer the old style of horror, and, his films like Cursed was awful, and Red Eye, I thought that was a passable thriller, and I haven't seen his new movie, My Soul to Take yet, but Wes Craven, for me anyway, died after this film. This is the last film I'll ever buy of him. But that is my Wes Craven collection, and I definitely enjoy his older films from his classic era, so there you go.